Finally here. This is the very last episode of A Ghost of a Chance, which is a paranormal time travel romance novel. Now that we know what that all means, here you go, last couple of chapters, and find out how it ends.
Chapter 23. Tyler woke up feeling like an axe was embedding itself into his brain. He forced himself to sit up and take 2 of the painkillers he had made a habit of keeping on his nightstand with a half-drunken can of soda. The soda was flat and disgusting, and to his recollection was about 4 days old. He lay back down on the bed and picked up his phone. His intention was to call Ben and have him come over, but the idea of talking, listening, made his stomach lurch. Instead, he shot off a quick text. Brain is on a rampage. The key is under the red pot with the yellow flowers, not the red pot with the pink flowers. Tyler sank back into the pillows and looked around the room. His eyes weren't focusing, and the effort made him nauseated. The pain was different this time, which somehow made it worse. At least with the way the pain came and went before, he knew its course. Take the painkillers before the nausea starts, unless you want to end up on the bathroom floor. He understood that pain. This was a new kind of pain. He woke up to his stomach lurching, the pain unbearable, his eyesight diminished. For the first time since this whole saga with his brain tumor started, Tyler was scared. Ben came into the bedroom a few minutes later, still wearing the pajama bottoms and sweatshirt he went to bed in. His hair was tousled, and he looked like he wasn't quite awake yet. His blue eyes went straight to his brother's face. Jesus Christ, Ty, you look like a corpse. Ben felt his brother's head. His skin was clammy and cold to the touch. Did you take anything? Tyler lifted his hand, the bottle of pills still in his hand. Yeah, he whispered, the strain of just saying the word showing on his face. Okay, good. What can I do to make this better? Ice. You need an ice pack? Ben asked. Yeah, Tyler moaned. Ben went into the kitchen to get an ice pack for him. While he was gone, Tyler tried to sit up, but the room began to spin and rock. He shut his eyes. Ben came back and placed a towel-wrapped ice pack on Tyler's forehead and told him to try to sleep. Can you call Mom? Mom and Dad are on their way here. When did that happen? Tyler groaned. Pretty much right after I saw you yesterday. Tyler leaned back and sighed. I'm going to call the doctor and see if I can get some advice on what to do with you. Is there anything I need to tell him? Ben, I can't see right. Nothing looks right. The room spins, but things look fractured, like a cut-up picture. Panic began to rise in Tyler's voice. The pain, it's different. Okay, that's what I needed to know, Ty. Just lie back. Don't try to open your eyes. Sleep if you can. I'll take care of everything. Tyler closed his eyes and felt himself sink. When he opened his eyes, he found that he was lying beside Bridget with his head on her chest. Her fingers were lightly caressing his head. You're having a difficult time, darling, Bridget whispered to him. The pain is gone. I'm glad you're here. Why is the pain gone? Because you're here with me. If you wake up, the pain will be there. It's all getting worse, Tyler. You need to decide what's more important, you being alive or that book of yours. You, he whispered into her soft skin. Me what? You're the important thing. Ben shook his brother gently. What did you say, Ty? Tyler realized that he was talking in his sleep, and a wan smile crossed his face. Come on, Ty. I need you to wake up for a minute. I don't want to. I want to make love to my woman, Tyler mumbled. You're half dead and you're having wet dreams? Jesus Christ, Ty. Ben's back went rigid. He looked around the room and out into the front of the house, twisting his head at an odd angle. Did you hear that? Hear what? I thought I heard a woman giggle. It smells like flowers in here now, too. My Bridget. What? Tyler opened his eyes and tried to sit up. What? Never mind. I texted Mom. Their plane lands in 2 hours. The doctor said that he would be here as soon as he gets off rounds and drives here from Limerick. Mom and Dad will probably beat him here. Okay. Can you sit up more? You should probably drink something. Let me go get you some water. Or would you hold ginger ale down easier? Ben asked him. Water's fine. The pain isn't so bad. I should get up. You're not going anywhere until the doctor looks you over. I have to get up. I have to finish the book. I have to change the ending. Why? You're almost done. I need to let the ghosts win in the end. The builders are trying to build on their graves. That can't happen. Okay, you stay here. I'll get your laptop and you can dictate what you want to be changed so that when you're better, which you clearly are not, you can change it yourself. Tyler snuggled down into the comforter that someone, probably Ben, had put over him sometime that morning. He wanted to get back to sleep. Ben came back with a bottle of water, a glass of ginger ale, and Tyler's laptop. Hey, are we going to work on this, or are you going to go back to getting your beauty sleep, princess? Ha, you're a funny guy, Tyler mumbled. He took a few tentative sips from the bottle of water that Ben had opened for him. Seriously, though, if you want to get back to sleep, I can just hang out and fill your laptop with fuzzy little yip-yip dog videos. Oh, God, no, not the yip-yip dogs, Tyler moaned and sat back up. Grab me those pillows, will you? He pointed to a stack of pillows on a small chest in the corner of the bedroom. Ben brought them over and helped his brother prop himself up to a near-sitting position. He reached over to grab his laptop, and Ben snatched it away. What did you do that for? I'm not going to have you looking at a screen. I'm not in a hurry to see you in that much pain again, unless, of course, I'm causing it. You talk, I type. That was the deal. Fine, Tyler pouted. He hated giving up control of his writing to anyone, even Ben. Oh, stop pouting and let's get to work. Ben and Tyler worked on his book for 45 minutes before Tyler began to fade in and out of sleep. Ben closed the laptop and set it aside. You in pain? Yeah. When did you take your last painkiller? Right before you got here. Okay. Let me read the bottle and see if you can take some more. It says every 4 to 6 hours. It's been just under 4 hours. I think it's okay. Okay, Tyler said, laying back down, his head cushioned by the large stack of pillows. Ben gave him 2 more pills and helped him drink some of the ginger ale. Okay, I'm going to go check on our parents' status and look out for the doctor. You get to sleep. Tyler ducked his head under the comforter. That was all the consent he could give anyone. Chapter 24. Ah, you're back. Tyler took Bridget into his arms and kissed her thoroughly. She giggled and pulled away. Come with me, Tyler. I want to show you something. She took his hand and began to pull him towards the front door. Wait, I wasn't finished kissing you all over your face yet. Bridget smiled. Hold your horses. We will get to that, but first, come on. Reluctantly, Tyler let her pull him out of the cottage and around to the backyard. Where are we going? Just follow me. They walked until they reached the top of a small knoll. Looking down, there was a modest-sized stream cutting through the property, the sun shining off the water, creating a fanciful light show. Bridget sat down on the grass and stuck her toes into the cold water. The water was so clean and clear that he could see the sand and rocks beneath the surface. Tyler sat down beside her, his arms wrapped around his knees. He was captivated by the scene, the light glittering off the water, dragonflies flying just above the surface, occasionally dipping down to take a drink. There were flowers everywhere, butterflies and bees buzzing around, making their rounds from flower to flower. This is really a pretty place. It's where I come when I'm sad. The stream, flowers, and the buzzing of the bees always bring me peace. I've always loved the sound of bubbling water. There's a fountain outside my mother's house. When I stay there, I usually keep the window of my room open so that I can hear it at night. It's a comforting sound. This has the same sound. Bridget lay down on the grass and let out a contented sigh. Tyler followed suit, propping his head up on his elbow so he could look at her face. "You're so beautiful." Bridget blushed and traced his jawline with a fingertip. "You need a shave." Tyler carefully rubbed his budding whiskers onto her cheek. She giggled and tried to get away. Thrashing at him and rolling to the side, she didn't stand a chance when he heaved himself on top of her and pinned her down. He tickled her with his whiskers until she was a quivering ball of giggles, and then switched tactics so fast it almost made her head spin. Tyler kissed along her jawline, moving down the side of her neck and to the bare shoulder that had pushed out of her nightgown. He took her mouth, tongue plunging between her kiss-swollen lips. He groaned, "I want to be inside of you." "Yes, now," Bridget sighed into his mouth. Tyler crawled off of her and took off his sweatpants. When he turned back to her, he saw that her nightgown was hanging on a bush and she was stretched out on top of the soft grass, her hair splayed out around her. "You look like a wood nymph." She reached out her arms to him, and he took her hand in his and just marveled at her. Her creamy white skin seemed to glow against the greenery. He kissed her knuckles, kissing her all the way down her arm until, once again, he took her mouth. Bridget wrapped her legs around him, and with a moan, he sheathed himself inside of her. He cradled her head with one hand and the small of her back with the other, fearful that she would get marred by the grass and dirt below. They moved together, building a momentum that nearly swept them both away. Tyler strained to hold himself back, fighting against his need for release and his need to send her into the throes of ecstasy. He was just about to lose the battle with himself when he felt her quiver and tighten around him. "Open your eyes, Bridget." Her eyes opened, and he watched them glaze over, the light blue-green becoming as dark as a forest full of evergreens at dusk. He knew keeping her eyes open was hard, and it was evidenced by her teeth sinking into her bottom lip. Her whole body flushed and bucked, but her eyes never left his. Tyler was overcome that she would do that one thing for him. All control he managed to hold on to broke. He crushed his mouth into hers and moaned out her name as his body quaked, and he rode the waves of his release. Panting into her hair, her arms still around him, he managed to croak out, "Am I crushing you?" "Just a wee bit." Tyler lifted himself off of her and looked down at her face. Her hair was moistened with sweat, her lips swollen from his kisses, and her body still blushed with pleasure. He lay down on his side so that he was facing her, and trailed his fingers down the side of her face, over her lips, and down her throat. He felt her shiver. "Are you cold?" "No, not at all," she whispered. She closed her eyes and stretched out on the grass. "Don't move," Tyler ordered her, and got up and started picking flowers. Bridget watched him, laughing at how absurd a buck-naked grown man running around picking flowers looked. With his hands full, he came back and sat down beside her, sticking honeysuckle blossoms in her hair, and stood back to admire his work. "Yes, a wood nymph or a garden fairy." He leaned down and kissed her lips. "No, an angel. You look like an angel." "I don't think angels make love outside in the grass by a stream," Bridget teased. "Mine does. You're cold. Let's get back inside." He held out his hand to help her up, and then took the liberty of slipping her nightgown back on. He pulled on his sweatpants and took her hand, and they both walked up and over the knoll back to the cottage. Tyler woke up to the sound of Ben calling his name. "Let him sleep," Evie said. "The doctor said to wake him up every 2 hours just to make sure that he's okay," Ben told her. "If it's what the doctor says, then that's what you should do," Quinn said, putting his arm around his wife. "I appreciate you both coming over here. I know that Tyler thinks a lot of both of you and considers you his friends." "We are," Quinn said. "I fell in love with that boy the minute I saw his bleach blonde spiked hair and nose ring. So polite for someone who looks like he escaped the clutches of some boy band, Evie explained. Our mother will be very happy to hear that. She would be horrified if we were anything less than polite. Are your parents on their way? Evie asked. Yes, they landed in Waterford half an hour ago, and I sent a car to pick them up. You're paying a car to pick them up in Waterford and drive them to Ardmore? That's going to cost a pretty penny. It's okay, I put it on Tyler's credit card. He's loaded. The only thing he spends money on is books, paper, and getting his hair done. Ben grinned. That's not true, you turd, Tyler croaked out. Don't talk yet, Tyler. Let me get you a drink, Evie said, rushing over with a bottle of water. Tyler took a few sips and looked at his brother. Now, what did you do with my credit card? I booked a car to pick up Mom and Dad from the airport, and then I filled your laptop with prepaid porn sites, Ben said with a big grin on his face. Do you two always talk to each other like this? Evie asked, ready to jump to Tyler's defense. Quinn put his hand on her shoulder. They're brothers. If they didn't, then something would be wrong. I'm glad that he's awake. A little bit ago he was talking in his sleep about putting flowers in an angel's hair. It freaked me out, Ben said, slouching in the chair beside his brother's bed. Putting flowers in an angel's hair? Quinn couldn't help but smirk. A romantic, are you? That's sweet, Evie cooed, looking at her husband. Of course you would think so, Evie. You always had a soft spot for poets. Why are we all sitting here in the dark? Someone turn the lights on, Tyler said, wincing as he reached for the lamp. Ben, Evie, and Quinn looked at him with stricken expressions on their faces. Ben went pale before sitting on the bed beside his brother. Ty, every light in the room is on, can't you see? Not really. I mean, I can see shadows. The little one must be Evie, and you're right here. Tyler put his hand on Ben's arm. So that tall shadow must be Quinn, and Bridget is in the rocking chair. Ben, Evie, and Quinn turned their heads to look at the empty rocking chair. Ty, is Bridget here now? Evie asked. Well, if you turned on the lights, you'd be able to see her, Tyler snapped. Ben lay his hand on his brother's arm and squeezed gently. Standing up, he walked out of the room. I'm calling his doctor at Stanford Medical. Quinn nodded his head in agreement and followed him out the door. Evie sat by the bed and took Tyler's hand in hers after she plumped up his pillows. Tell me about your Bridget, Ty. His head flopping down on the pillow, he turned his eyes in the direction of the rocking chair. She's beautiful and feisty. She's got these eyes that change color, not quite blue-green, almost like a teal, but they can change color depending on her mood. She's funny and smart, and she's like an angel. Out of breath, he stopped talking and closed his eyes. She's an angel. Let me get you some more water, sweet boy. Evie got up and bolted from the room. Ben, where is that doctor? That boy is not well. I'm waiting for him to call me back. I just got off the phone with my parents. They're getting close. They'll call me when they're half an hour away. Quinn, go sit with him. He's getting winded just talking. Evie ordered her husband out of the room with a push. Wait, what? He can't breathe? Ben grabbed the phone, panic-stricken. He was going on and on about Bridget, and then he just stopped. He was having a hard time breathing. He was huffing like he just ran here from Limerick with 40 pounds of salted fish on his back. That's it. I'm calling the doctor's office back and demanding that they have someone speak with me immediately, Ben said while punching numbers into the phone. Evie walked around the kitchen counter, intent on cleaning up the place a little bit, and she heard Ben on the phone. Yes, this is Ben Logan, Tyler Logan's brother, and I'm with him in Ireland. I need to talk to his doctor immediately. While washing the dishes, Evie eavesdropped on Ben's conversation. She heard Ben tell the person on the phone about Tyler's pain, about his throwing up, and about the state that she and Quinn had found him in just a couple of nights ago. He went on in detail describing the current state of his brother. Tearing up, Evie went back into the bedroom to check on Tyler. How's he doing? Evie asked Quinn, who was sitting at the foot of the bed, looking at Tyler, his brow furrowed. Quinn shook his head sadly. Evie sat on the edge of the bed and felt the top of Tyler's head. He's not feverish, Evie said. He's awake, Tyler grumbled. Do you need anything? What can I do? Evie asked him. Ice pack, please. I'll get it, Quinn said, getting up. You stay here and baby our boy. Quinn was heading out of the door of the bedroom as Ben was coming in. I'm going to get him an ice pack. In the freezer, I imagine. Yes, and there's a stack of clean dish towels on the counter to wrap them up in. Like frostbite is the worst of our worries. Ben came over and sat on the bed opposite Evie, kicking off his sneakers and leaning against the headboard like he did when they were younger. How are you feeling? Ben asked his brother. Like I got in a bar fight and lost. Can you see? Not well. I can see you better, and I know that's Evie. And you all have halos around you, like those aura pictures you see sometimes, but everything else is dark. I talked to the doctor, and he said that that's not so good, little brother. He's calling me back in a bit to tell me what we should do. These are our choices. Bring you to the clinic downtown and hope that they have the equipment they need to take care of you, or get an ambulance to drive you all the way to Cork and then have you airlifted to Dublin. I'll know which one as soon as he calls back. No, I want to stay here. Bridget is here. Well, I'm not going to argue with you, and I'm pretty sure she would agree with my decision-making. As if to confirm what Ben was saying, the room was instantly scented with honeysuckle and lavender. Tyler smiled. There's my angel. Evie and Ben exchanged glances, having both noticed the sudden scent of flowers. Come here, sit with me. Tyler reached his hand into the empty space. Quinn came back into the room and immediately smelled the lingering scent of flowers. He looked at his wife, one eyebrow shooting up. Evie simply shook her head, looking devastated. She told her husband in a whisper that Tyler thought Bridget was in the room. Everyone but Tyler jumped when there was a knock on the front door. Chapter 25. That must be my parents. I'll go let them in, Ben said, getting up. That boy looks exhausted, Evie said, tilting her head in Ben's direction. It will do him good to have his parents here. Yeah, he looks like he's ready to buckle under the stress. My heart is breaking for him, for both of them. I can understand that. From the little bit of time we've known Tyler, and from seeing Ben so diligently taking care of him, it's easy to see that they're good boys. Oh, hello, Evie said, standing up to let Tyler's mom sit on the bed where she was previously sitting. Never forgetting her manners, Colleen introduced herself. Thank you for taking care of my baby. Ben said that you both became quick friends with my sons. You must be Quinn. Tyler thinks a lot of you. He's a good boy. Both of them are. We're quite fond of Tyler. We just met Ben, but I have to tell you, he's an impressive young man. Thank you, Colleen said before turning her attention to Tyler. Ben, Evie, and Quinn filled Colleen and Martin in on what had been happening with Tyler. He was talking, and then suddenly he started having problems breathing. Colleen never moved from Tyler's side the whole time they were talking. Martin moved around the group to sit on the other side of Tyler's bed and reached out a hand to cover Colleen's hand, which was resting on Tyler's chest. Evie and I are going to go. Let you have your family time, Quinn said, taking Evie's arm to lead her out of the room. Evie stopped him and went to hug Ben, asking him to please keep them posted. I will, Ben said, and squeezed Evie in a hug. Thanks for taking care of him. You didn't have to, but you did, so thank you. Mom, Evie and Quinn are leaving. Shh, Ben, leave them be. They need to be with Tyler more than they need to say goodbye to us. Ben nodded his head in agreement and walked them to the door. As soon as they left, he hurried back to his family, grabbing a can of soda on his way. Mom, Tyler whispered. I'm here, baby. Dad's here too. Hey, Dad, Tyler said raspingly. Don't talk, son, just rest. Is Ben here? I need to talk to Ben. Ben went over to the side of the bed and leaned over. I'm here. What do you need? I need to tell you something. What? Remember when I was 14 and you got mad at me because you thought I kissed Cheryl Taylor behind the snack bar at school and I denied it? Ben looked quizzically at his parents. Yeah, I did. I kissed her behind the snack bar. Ben laughed. It's okay, Ty. Everyone kissed Cheryl Taylor behind the snack bar. Ben was going to say something else to his brother, but instead he watched his brother's eyes flutter closed and his breathing become shallow and even. Tyler was asleep. Tyler sat on the sofa with Bridget in his arms. He was the most contented he had ever been. Even with Amy, who he dearly loved, he didn't feel this level of peace. You're dying, Tyler, she whispered. I know. You need to fight it, for yourself and for them. I don't know how. I don't either. You would think being dead for so long I would at least have an inkling of how to fight it off. Well, either way, I end up in a place that makes me happy. If I can figure out how to fight it, I stay with my family and my life. If I can't, then I get to stay with you. Either way, it's kind of a win for me. Looking for the bright side of the rainbow, are ye? Yeah. Let's take a walk. I can see what's going on in your bedroom, but you can't, and this is something you shouldn't see, nor do I want to describe it to you. Wait, you can see my family? Yes, Tyler, I can. Your parents and Ben are all there. Tell me what's going on. I can't do that. Why not? Tyler demanded. Because it's not something you should know. It will only destroy you. Will you be able to see what's happening if we go outside of the cabin? No, it only works if I'm inside the cabin, she lied. Then let's get out of here. If I can't see what's going on, I don't want you to be carrying that burden by yourself. Chapter 26. Leaving the cottage behind them, Tyler and Bridget made their way to the beach where Ireland met the Atlantic. Sitting on a rock, Tyler pulled Bridget into his lap. She rested her head on his shoulder, and they just sat there, looking out over the ocean. Tyler tried to speak, but he couldn't get his voice much higher than a whisper. His words came out wheezy and broken. Don't try to talk, baby. The doctor will be calling back any minute. We'll get you to the hospital. You're going to be just fine. Colleen tried to keep the tears out of her voice as she soothed her son. Ben, Tyler croaked, and then began to cough, trying to clear his lungs. I'm right here, Ty. Finish the book, okay? Make the ghosts win. I will, Ben said, choking back his emotions. But you're going to be fine, just in case. Ben wiped a tear from his eye and said, just in case. His father left the room when Ben's phone rang to answer it, and Colleen watched him go. I hope that's the doctor. Me too. I can't take much more of this, Mom. Colleen stood up and walked around to the other side of the bed to wrap her oldest son in a hug. It's going to be all right. I wish I could believe that. I wish I could too, she said, and pulled him into a hug, patting his hair like she had when he was a little boy. Martin came back into the room and told them that the doctor had sent an ambulance which would bring Tyler to the hospital, where he would be airlifted to Dublin. It'll be a long drive, but if we leave as soon as the ambulance takes him, we can get there. Our luggage is just outside, Ben. Maybe you should go to the hotel and get your stuff, Martin said. No, I'm not leaving him. I'll just grab some of his stuff. Okay, we'll figure it out. The doctor said that only one of us could go in the ambulance and helicopter with him. I think it should be you, Colleen. I agree. Mom should go. With that settled, Ben and his father went to wait outside for the ambulance. They could hear the sirens getting closer and closer. Ben breathed a sigh of relief. Tyler could hear them talking, but he couldn't respond. He couldn't see them, and he couldn't move. All he could do was hear them. He listened to them talking about him like he wasn't there, and suddenly their voices just faded away. The pain was gone, and he felt different. He opened his eyes, and he could see. He could smell, and he could hear again. Tyler sat on the rock with Bridget in his arms, looking at the ocean. The salty air tickled his nose as he looked toward the horizon. The waves crashing against the rocks relaxed him. Then he felt something change. Bridget, he said, panic in his voice. It was time, Bridget said, but now you're here. So I'm dead? Like, actually dead? Tyler asked, patting himself to see if he felt different. He touched her, his hands exploring her face. You're real. You aren't something my brain made up. You're really real. I'm dead and you're real. Yes, I'm so sorry, Tyler, Bridget said, tears running down her cheeks. I have to... My mom, he said, and took off running towards the cottage. Bridget ran after him, trying to keep up. Over the sand and fields they ran, until they got to the road and were in view of the cottage. Tyler, Bridget said, grabbing his arm, trying to make him stop. He skidded to a stop and turned to look at her, his blue eyes blazing with panic, his skin white as a ghost. You're not supposed to see your family's reaction to your death. Bridget said, trying to calm him down. I didn't get to say goodbye. Tyler choked out the words and pulled Bridget into his arms. I didn't get to say goodbye. Most people don't, Tyler. What do we do now? We walk over that knoll and go home to our cottage. Our cottage? Tyler repeated. Shaking, he took her hand and they headed home. When they got to the top of the knoll, they could see that the cottage was enveloped in a warm, glowing white light. Tyler gasped at the sight of it. Is that the white light? Yes, I saw it briefly when I died, but I didn't walk into it. You should have. You're right, Tyler, I should have. I understand now that I didn't commit suicide. I didn't sin. It's because of you that I understand that. And if I had understood it before, I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have fallen in love with you, and I wouldn't be with you right now, seeing this. And what do? We can't go into the cottage because the cottage is in the light. It's giving us no choice. But what about my family? I can't go into the cottage without going into the light. What about my mom and dad? What about Ben? They'll be fine, Tyler. They'll all learn to live with you not being there. Ben will finish your book and he'll move on and have a great life. Are you sure? No. Tyler took her hand and they walked closer to the light that beckoned them. He'd always thought that it would be a bright light, like the ones at the dentist's office or the overhead light of an operating room, but it wasn't. It was softer, warmer, and more comforting than anything he had ever experienced. Tyler thought of resisting, but he didn't have the strength, and if he didn't go into the light, he knew Bridget wouldn't either. The closer they got to it, the more peaceful and warm they felt. Tyler stopped and took Bridget's hands in his. His eyes went to hers, and he said, I love you. I don't know what will happen when we pass through to whatever lies beyond, but know in your soul that I love you. I love you too. Holding hands, they stepped into the light.
Oh my goodness, I did not expect that. That was not how I saw that ending. But what can I say? Love it. Yeah. Really, really. Okay, so check out her blog, alexandersonbooks.com. We'll have a link in the description. And follow her, writing her new series, which is like a diamond painting murder mystery. Stabbing diamonds. Okay. Love it. Thank you again, Alex. Love, love, love it. Can't wait for the next one. Her book is also available through Amazon or directly through her website. You can get an autographed copy. Mrs. Coffee got one. Yeah, Mrs. Coffee ordered her autographed copy. And a little special notation specifically for them about the potato famine. Love it. But yeah, if you want your own copy, I'm suggesting, don't have to, but why wouldn't you want an autographed copy? Yeah. Okay. On to the next thing. Wonder what that's going to be. Take care, guys. This was so much fun. Sorry, I dropped the Irish accent at the end. Working on it.